Hey, what's up you guys? It's your boy Joseph. So in my last video, I went into the red flags that make up bad credit cards. And initially, I was a bit undecided on whether or not I was going to make a follow-up video on this by showing the worst credit cards in the market. But then I figured it would be a great way to showcase real-life examples that unfortunately do exist. And honestly, this was a bit unexpected, but it took more time in digging up the worst credit cards than the best credit cards, which I thought was pretty interesting. But don't get me wrong, from a consumer standpoint, this is definitely a good thing because these cards are pretty awful and you should avoid them because they're far better options even if you have bad credit. So in this video, we're going to go into all the lovely details of the worst credit cards in 2021 and why these cards are bad, so you can be aware of their existence and use this as a standard to judge future cards, because oddly enough, these bad credit cards seem to follow a consistent theme. Now, just as a disclaimer, this video is strictly for entertainment purposes only, and any financial advice that I give here is based solely on my opinion. And so with that out of the way, let's get into the video. So the first credit card we're going to talk about is the First Premier Bank Mastercard credit card. Now, this company got a lot of attention because they used to offer a credit card that had a 79.99% interest rate, which was both legal and ridiculous. But now they don't offer that card anymore, probably because they received a lot of negative backlash and they didn't want to be associated with that anymore. But anyways, now they have this card, which is a bit more lax in the interest department, but it still retained its unique fee system, which I've yet to see in another card. So starting off, this card has a 36% fixed interest rate, which is loads better than the 80%, but is still really high compared to normal credit cards. And its fee system, as mentioned before, is the definition of being overly complicated for no reason. The first time I saw this chart, I was like, what the heck is this? And I'm sure you're thinking the same as well. But basically how it's set up is that depending on your credit limit, you get different one-time program fees ranging anywhere from $55 to $95, which also is different with their annual fees that go anywhere from $75 to $125 the first year, and then it gets reduced to $45 to $49. But we're not done just yet. You also get a monthly maintenance fee that, in terms of like an annual cost basis, is anywhere from $0 to $96, which gets pushed to $75 to $124.80 after the first year. And that's what I mean by overly complicated. But as crazy as it sounds, I was kind of curious in how they set up the fee system, because if you noticed, there were different numerical values for fees with each credit limit. And I thought, I wonder if it's something like where you have something like if you have a lower credit score, you get charged more because technically you're deemed as a riskier individual. So what I ended up doing was putting all the data into an Excel sheet and creating a visual chart showcasing a 10-year timeline. And this is what I got. Basically, the lower the credit score you have, the less fees you get up until the $500 credit limit. And then it shifts back and forth from being the most expensive to the second most expensive and back again. Honestly, I don't know what they were trying to achieve here, but it doesn't really make any sense because it doesn't follow any sort of logic. And I feel like they were just plugging in some random numbers and they just wanted to call it a day. As for the other aspects of the card, you get the standard 3% foreign transaction fee, and after 13 months, you are considered into a credit limit increase, which, get this, has a fee attached to it. Yep, that's right. 25% of the credit limit increase is the fee. So a $100 credit limit increase is a $25 fee that gets automatically billed to your account. The silver lining in this, if you can even call it that, is that you can request a refund for the fee, basically rejecting the increase to your credit limit. But the problem in this is that it might actually be better to just pay the fee, because raising your credit limit will reduce your credit utilization, which makes up 30% of your credit score. And if they are initially placing your credit limit at $300, that can really help. But at the same time, you have to also consider that you're going to be increasing the annual fees in which you have to pay by going up the tier. So at this point, like, choosing which option would be the best would be solely up to you. But overall, this card is just a real headache, and a bad toss-up no matter what you do. The second card we're going to go into is the Fit Mastercard credit card. So when I was looking at this card on their site, one thing that I found annoying was when I was trying to find their card's agreement form. If I clicked under terms and conditions for their card, or even the links found at the bottom of the page for that option, it would redirect me to a personalized link that would show, it would only show you their agreement form if you had an account with them. And so the only workaround to see it was if you were to go to the apply section of their cards, and then they would provide the link to see it. And I thought that this was pretty annoying from a customer standpoint, because finding that information shouldn't be so difficult, and it wasn't as straightforward as it could have been, as most sites have it. But moving on, this card has a 29.99% interest rate, which is lower than the last card, but it's still pretty high. It also has a one-time processing fee of $89, an annual fee of $99, a monthly maintenance fee that is initially $0 the first year, and then it gets up to $75 a year. You get the 3% foreign transaction fee, and any additional card that you get will cost you $30. After 6 months, you're eligible to receive a credit limit increase, which surprisingly doesn't have a fee attached to it. And for the most part, all the fees get billed to your account before you even use your card. So if you had a credit limit of $300 and got an extra card, you would have an initial credit limit of $75.75. Now, while this card is a lot less complicated and a bit more straightforward than the first Premier card, it's still pretty bad with all of its attached fees. Now, the third card we're going to talk about is the First Digital Mastercard credit card. So when I first looked at their site, the first thing that I thought was suspicious was that they had 900 plus reviews with an average 5-star rating. And I highly doubt that's even the case, especially because even the best credit cards don't have that kind of rating. And while you can see reviews change every time you refresh the page, there is no way for you to explore all individual 900 or so reviews. But even then, the reviews are all like 3 words and basically say that it's good, and they just regurgitate it in whatever way they can as much as possible. I mean, that could explain everything pretty easily, and considering that it's free money, who would deny that kind of offer? But in terms of the card itself, it has a 35.99% interest rate with the program fee of $95, which is a fee that you have to pay right after you get approved for the card. This also has an annual fee of $75 that gets reduced to $48 after the first year, a monthly servicing fee that is initially $0, and then it gets bumped to $75. There is no foreign transaction fee, but only because you're not allowed to use this card outside of the US, and making purchases in a foreign currency are not allowed. After 12 months, you can be considered for a credit limit increase that gets a 25% fee based on the limit increase. And as far as like other fees go, it's very similar, if not the same, with the other cards, but it's still not a good card to get. Moving on, the fourth card we have is the Applied Bank Unsecured Classic Visa Credit Card. What a mouthful. So this card has a 29.99% interest rate, but what makes this card different from the rest of the cards is that it has no grace period. So most credit cards aren't required to, but for the most part they offer a grace period. And how it works is that, say that you bought something with your credit card. You're given a certain amount of days, which tends to be mostly 20 plus days for the most part, to pay the minimum account balance before interest is incurred, or if you pay off the amount in full by that date, then like no interest applies. But because this card has no grace period, the moment you make a purchase, interest will apply. Now, the only workaround for this is to pay off your account balance immediately after buying something, and then it gets posted to your account. But depending on whether you're paying through a checking or savings account, you could incur fees because of how frequently you're sending payments. In terms of fees, this card has an $89 processing fee, an annual fee of $75, which drops to $45 after the first year, then a monthly maintenance fee of $75 after the first year. This card doesn't explicitly mention a time frame to expect like a consideration for a credit limit increase, but when you do get one, instead of having to have a percentage-based fee, you have to pay a flat $100 fee. And from previous cards, I suspect it's going to be a $100 credit limit increase, which would make this fee a considerably high amount. They also charge you for replacement cards at $30 a pop, and if you need a copy of your statement, they charge you $10 per copy, which is higher than the other cards, which I saw were low in the amount of $2 or so. For this card, I would definitely avoid it because of having to deal with the sheer annoyance from having to strictly manage your purchases with your payments, and I feel like having to micromanage yourself can get old really fast. Now, the last card we're going to talk about is the Total Visa credit card. This card is very similar to the First Digital Mastercard, but with slightly reduced interest rates and fees. So we're not going to go too far into this card because it's pretty much a slightly better duplicate. It has a 34.99% interest rate with a program fee of $89, an annual fee that goes from $75 to $48, and a monthly servicing fee that is $75 annually after the first year. And from what I can see, you start off at a $300 credit limit, which is really low. And after 12 months, you can be considered for a credit limit increase with a 20% fee attached to that amount. Now, just like in the First Digital credit card, you're not allowed to make purchases outside of the US. And the only thing I can really say in terms of advantages with this card is that it's a Visa credit card, not a Mastercard. So credit card acceptance would technically be better based on the numbers, but since it has no international usage and the shortage of acceptance from Visa to MasterCard is not an issue in the States, it doesn't really mean much. And there you guys have it, the worst 5 credit cards you can get in 2021. As you can tell, they all follow a similar theme, with penalizing you with fees even before you receive the card. They all have no cashback bonuses or introductory offers, and they take every opportunity to hit you with a fee, even if you are following best practices with credit cards. So do me a favor and stay away from these cards and similarly like cards. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you thought this video was interesting or helpful in any way, drop a like below and consider subscribing to see more videos from your boy. And in any case, hope you guys have a swell rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.